people do not see things. Unless you point it out to them, they're going to go right past symbols and emblems and never even suspect what they're looking at. And unfortunately, in America, especially, even when you point things out to Americans, they don't even care. They don't see any value in it, in knowing about such things. But when you begin to look at the symbols of harlotry, flags, coats of arms, national coats of arms, corporate seals, logos for big corporations, and there was a movie many years ago called A Beautiful Mind, where the doctor was able to, because of his gift of pattern recognition, was able to see encoded things in magazines and newspapers or whatever, and he was a master decoder of codes because it was just obvious to him. Well, it's the same idea struck me when I was in my mid-teens, that there seems to be patterns, and nobody told me this, I just began to see it, that there were patterns in symbols and emblems and words and terms and coats of arms, as I said, and flags around the world. It didn't take me very long to figure out that there is a world of symbolism that's organized. It's very highly organized around the world to communicate through mass media. It's an incredible world we live in of communications through visual symbols and emblems. Classic example, you go to in Washington, D.C., if you go on television any night to CNN or any of those news, or even on the regular news at night in television, and you will see in Washington, D.C., some crooked politician making some kind of a big speech about something, and they're all crooked. But you see the politicians making a speech in Washington, D.C., and it's where the president, in that room where the president gives his State of the Union message. And I have asked so many people, and they've seen that room, they know where it is. And I said, well, did you ever see the symbols, which are sitting on both sides of the podium where the president stands, the symbols? They never even noticed. And I said, my God, they're about 8 to 10 foot high, and they're right on both sides of where the president's standing. And those symbols, next time you get a chance, look at the podium, and don't look at the goofball and the paid lackey, who we call politicians in America. Anyway, both sides of a presidential podium is a symbol called a fasci, or a fascis. It's a bundle of sticks with a hatchet head. And it's an incredibly important symbol. And it's a symbol that came out of the ancient world but was picked up by the Romans, and it began to be very important in the Roman Empire, the fascis symbol, which is a bundle of sticks, like I said, tied in crosses. You'll see it's tied in crosses, and it has a hatchet head. The reason why well, first of all, the symbolism of the bundle of sticks. The idea was that one stick can be broken. 2 or 3 sticks can also be broken. But if you have a bundle of sticks and you tie them together as one unit, we like to say that, well, America has a coalition. We're all collected together like a gang. We've got the Crips and the Bloods and the Hells Angels, and we've got all these gangs, and we collect them together as one unit. And it's politically, we call it a coalition of governments. Just one example of thousands that you can see every day. People see the American flag, the stars and stripes, having no idea in the world, even Americans have no idea in the world, that's not an American flag. It's a U.S. flag. The United States flag is not an American flag. How many people know that the U.S. is a term? This country we call the United States of America is a republic, but the word United States in law means a corporation, a privately owned company. And so all corporations or privately owned companies, by law, if you're incorporated, you have to have a president. It's called corporate law. So you must have a president. And corporate law says if you're going to be a corporation, anybody can have a corporation, but you got to follow the rules. You got to have a president, a vice president, and a secretary treasurer. That you have to have if you're going to be a corporation. So today, there's a privately owned company in this country called United States Corporation. It was incorporated back in the 1870s. And it has a president. So Bush was the president of the corporation. Today Obama's the president of the corporation. But people don't understand the United States is a privately owned company. It's a corporation. It does not represent the American people at all. It's a corporation. Go on the web or go to a library and look up the subject of corporations and look up United States Corporation. You will find the United States Corporation, which is headquartered in Washington, D.C., is a privately owned corporation. It's a company. And as any other corporation, like I said, they got president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, but it has nothing to do with America as a republic. It's a privately owned company. And Americans just go about their daily business, surrendering their sovereignty, surrendering their free will, surrendering their children, surrendering everything they have to a damn privately owned corporation, a company. So it's I don't know, the world is strange. But as I said in the beginning, the American flag is not an American flag, it's a U.S. flag. It's a flag that was designed for the corporation. And the stripes and the stars and stripes are totally different on an American flag than what they are on a U.S. flag. Another thing, I mean, it might not be of importance to people in other countries, but in America, you ask a person today in America, how many states are in the Union of America? They'll tell you there's 50 states, the 48 plus Alaska and Hawaii. So it makes 50 states. Actually, in point of fact, any good corporate attorney would tell you, no, there's 100 states in the corporation, not 50, because there are 2 states within California. Within every state, there are 2 states. There's a state of California, and then there's a California state. Cal State is a very familiar term to Californians. We have Cal State universities, Cal State utilities, Cal State police. We have California State. California State, and of course in New York you have California New York State. We'll say you'll go to New York State University or New York State Police, but there's a world of difference, legally and lawfully, between California State or Cal State New York and the state of. The state of New York is totally different than New York State. So it's a totally different thing. So it's a totally different government. So in America, in the United States, you have to understand that there's 2 different operations going on simultaneously, but the people have no idea. All they know is California. No, there's California State, which is the state itself, and then there's the state of California, which is a federal corporation operating within the state called California. So anytime you see state of Virginia, the state of Alabama, which is different from Alabama State, the state of means it's a federal corporation called United States Privately Owned Federal Corporation, which is operating within the state of Alabama. So there's the Alabama State, which is the state itself, and then there's the state of Alabama, which is the corporation in Washington, D.C., operating within that state. And so it's a world of difference, but they're very specifically important to know. And when you're doing business, when you're in, especially if you're going to court, you need to understand, are you going to court under the state of Alabama or Alabama State? You know, the laws are totally different. But how many Americans understand any of this? How many Americans even care? Well, the reason why most people are not interested in the kind of information that I've been talking about for God knows at least 50 years. I started doing this back in 1959, and I started going public with my research back in 1980. So we're talking about 30 years I've been publicly talking about something, and 50 years I've been doing it. But the reason why my work is not as successful as I would like for people to know about what I'm talking about, a lot of people don't know. And the reason why is because my work has nothing to do with basketball, nothing to do with football, or the silly, nonsensical, little childish games that they give us adults to play. So Americans are famous for being infantile. We love to go out and have hamburgers and hot dogs and watch a ball game. And like with the kids. No, you're going out there because you are a kid. You are the kid. And you want to be entertained, so we go watch a ball game. Now, when I was a kid, when families would come over to visit my family, after dinner, the men would always end up in the front room with the cigars and wine and talking men talk. And the women would be out in the kitchen or wherever and talking among themselves. So the children were always told, go out and play. Go play ball. I was smart enough, even at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, to figure that they want you to go out and play ball. Why? Because they're adults and they want to talk about something adult that they don't want you hearing. And my first reaction was, and I always had problems with this, I would tell my dad, I don't want to go out and play ball. I want to hear what you're talking about. I want to hear what the men, I'm a man, I want to hear what the men are talking about. And it was not for you. This is not, it's on, and my dad would always say, it's on a need-to-know basis. You don't need to know. Go out and play ball. So that's today what our politicians tell us. This is on a need-to-know basis what we're doing. You don't need to know. You go out and play ball. So the way my dad would handle it is that we all, the kids all that were there, loved my uncle, my dad's brother. He was great with the kids. So my dad and my uncle would get up and go out and play ball with us. So now, once my uncle and my dad are going out to play ball with, now the kids want to go out and play with the adult. Now it's fun. And about 5 minutes after we're into the game, of course, my dad would get tired. He has to go in, and my uncle would. A few minutes later, he had to go in. But the kids are now playing ball, and they're occupied now. And so that took care of that, to get the kids to go out and play ball. Well, the same thing is happening in America. This is why at all ball games, always, football and basketball and, I don't care, tennis ball and soccer. I mean, America loves ball games because we're just a bunch of children loving ball games. But in all the ball games, you will always see movie stars. They will zoom in on movie stars who are there at the game, or the president's there, or the senator is there with his wife watching the game. So it's like, the adults are out watching the game with us kids, And they will have the president go out and throw the first ball. Daddy's coming out to play ball with us, I saw through that crap a long time ago. I don't care who's at the ball game. I want to know what these guys are doing at 2 o'clock in the morning. I want to know what they're doing at 3 o'clock in the morning in their secret meetings, planning the demise of my country and planning the destruction of human freedom. I want to know who these criminals are. I'm not interested to see them at a ball game. I'm not impressed with their ball games. I'm not impressed with them. I'm trying to be a more realistic adult human being, and I don't like being played for a fool. And that's all America's doing, is playing everybody for a fool. It's about time we wake up and find out this ball game is over. That the whole world is coming to the place where they're beginning to awaken to the fact that we've been had. All of us on the earth. It's not just Americans. We're the first ones to go because we were the most ignorant of all. All around the world, people were ill-informed, but America is big-time stupid. We don't want to know. We're just having fun. Well, those party days are over. I think all the Americans are beginning to suspect there might possibly be something wrong in America.
Yeah, I was just saying the other day, in Iceland and in Greece, they realize they're on the front lines right now.
Yeah.
America has no concept that they are on the front line too.
America is even worse than all of them, because when this country goes, this is the Roman Empire right now. We are the modern day Roman Empire. We are Rome. We are the great Egyptian empire of the pharaohs. The Mississippi, according to the secret societies, the Mississippi is referred to as the Nile.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
down
true.
the Nile, you have all the cities on the Nile. Memphis,
exactly. I was going to say.
And Cairo, all these cities named after Egyptian cities on the Mississippi. Why? It's because America is perceived by the founding fathers as the great restoration or the reborn empire of the Egyptian empire to dominate the globe. And then, of course, once the Roman Catholic Church moved in on us, they saw what was going on, that there's all this bunch of bull about freedom and liberty and justice for all. The Vatican said, no, thank you. You need to remember the Vatican has for over 3,200 years, Rome has dominated Europe under the Roman Empire of the Caesars, and then for the last 1,600 years under the Vatican. Rome, the Holy Father, runs Europe, period.
Well, when you look at the history of Rome, I mean, even from the earliest time, the history of Rome was run by specific families, specific gentis. The Gentilician period then becomes the imperial period.
Precisely. And in what way is that different than our great republic now being raped and destroyed by the powerful families behind the scenes, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, the Schiffs, all of the very dark conspiratorial apparatus behind banks, and how many people in America know banks are nothing more than fronts for insurance companies? Insurance companies are the major stockholders of our banks. Yeah, and so that's why in America you have to have insurance on your car and you have to buckle up when you're driving. It's because the insurance companies, and the reason why you have to have insurance on your car and you have to buckle up when driving, probably have to do that now in Europe for the same reason, but the reason why you're doing it in America is because Americans think, well, it's the government wants to protect us so we don't get hurt. Well, that's true. But why? They don't mind killing people all over the world in wars, hundreds of thousands of innocent women and children being murdered in wars all over the world, so they don't really care about human life. But why are they asking you to buckle up and be safe? It's because your body, your physical body, is a security on the New York Stock Exchange. They own your body. It's called Maritime Admiralty Law, the law of the sea, or the law of water. And since you are 90% water, whatever it is, you are mostly water. So they refer to human beings as maritime admiralty products. You are what is referred to as a human resource. You're not a man or a woman. Incidentally, if you go back and look at the correct English, there are books out about the English language and the correct use of English language in law and government. And if you look at the books on law and government and the English language, you will find that a man or a woman is referred to in law as feminine and masculine, but an animal in law as a male or female. This is why on all of your information, your ID, all your driver's license or whatever, it's always, are you male or female, not masculine or feminine. Masculine and feminine is for man and woman, but male or female is for a human being. A human being is, by law, in a court, a human being is not considered to be a man or woman. It is considered by law to be a maritime admiralty product, and that product is on the New York Stock Exchange. So your birth certificate which represents your flesh and blood body, is a security on the New York Stock Exchange. You are nothing more than a human resource. You are an animal, a male or female animal that's being bought and sold by the corporation called United States privately owned company. So once you understand how, and most people cannot relate to my words, they have no idea what I'm talking about. It's so foreign. But I do what I do to help those people, that small select handful that will be hearing me, who actually have a brain and who are actually used to actually thinking and reading and studying and researching. That's who I am appealing to. Just that small, minute handful who want to know the real truth about how the world really works. Because once you understand how this tune is played, we call government, commerce, international operation of government, education, military, it's all business. Just like the mafia says. I don't have anything against the mafia at all. But I love that one saying that they had, is very famous. The mob will tell you when they get ready to kill you. This is nothing personal. You know, like in the movie Godfather 1, when Michael and the Godfather, they're all sitting around with the attorney in the front room. And the attorney says, Michael, this is not personal, Michael. It's business. It has nothing to do with personal. So the killing of people around the world is nothing personal. It's just business. It's commerce. We're doing business. And sometimes, we ask a country if they will do something, and they will sell us this or do this or not for us, and they say no. Well, that's okay. We'll just send in the Marines and whip your ass, and then we'll take it.
And again, looking at the symbolism, if you look at the flag again that's sewn under the military uniforms, all of them always have the maritime fringe on the gold fringe around, and they're backwards.
Yeah, they're always backwards. Most people don't notice that. They're backwards.
I mean, I understand what upside down means.
That's right. Upside down means something
distress.
That's right.
But to put it backwards and then to indicate that it's maritime law. I mean, what have you got to do with maritime if you're the Army?
That's right. Well, actually, the Army is a branch of what is called internal security. General Motors, Ford Motor Company, all Sears, all big corporations in the world have something called internal or in-house security. In-house security means that big corporations have their own little police department. And so if they catch you stealing something or doing something, they will apprehend you right there right there in the factory, right there in the store. They have their own security. Now they can't put you in jail, but they can hold you and then call the authorities and turn you over to the authorities. But the point being is that they have the right and the authority to arrest you with the in-house security. That's their property. That's their corporation. They own the property, and you have done something, stole something, or broke something, or whatever. They have the right by law to arrest you and hold you for prosecution and give you to the authorities. So it's called in-house security. So the United States Army, the Navy, the Marines is what we call in-house security for the corporation called United States, which is a privately owned company. So if you're in the Army or in the military in America, you're not working for the American Republic to protect America. You're working for a privately owned corporation. Wake up, get a life. That's why all over the world, our military, or the military of the United States, think that they are out there to protect America. And they're supposedly out there to protect the Republic. In what way is American military today, in any way, shape, or form, protecting the great Republic of the United States of America? In what way are they protecting us? They're out all over the world doing whatever it is they're doing in all the countries of the earth, And the few that are here are now on the streets with guns to make sure we are in compliance to the masters of our country, to the communist or Nazi SS Gestapo masters who own America. Our people are now being herded around like animals by the military, who are nothing more than in-house security for a private corporation. I think the whole world situation is just incredible. I don't have any words for it. The only reason I'm telling you all of this is because I'm 70 years old and I'm not going to be here much longer. And I just feel it's an idea whose time has come to tell the people what's really going on. You've been had. The whole world's been had, because there is no freedom, liberty, or justice anywhere. In America, it's a favorite saying in America, the judges will tell you there is no justice, there's just us. And so I don't have any faith in America, and anybody who really believes in American freedom and liberty and justice has not experienced America. They must be out in the boonies of Mississippi to believe that, because anybody who has more than 500 brain cells going in the same direction and can read and understand what's going on must know that we are now a totalitarian fascist dictatorship, and we go from one side to the other. In America, you have the Democrats and Republicans. You cannot have a third party. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how much money you got. You cannot have a third party. You must either be a Republican or Democrat. There's a reason for that, because you only have two eyes. You can't have three. You only have two arms, two legs. You don't have four legs. You only have two. And so the symbol for the Roman corporation back in the ancient Roman Empire was an eagle. And the eagle only has two wings, left wing and right wing. So that's why we have left wing and right wing politics, because the eagle only has two wings.
I just have a quick question, if you don't mind. What's the difference in terms of, you see a lot of eagle symbolism everywhere,
yeah.
And my question is, you see the single-headed eagle, and then you see the double-headed eagle. What is the difference between those two symbols, or are they similar?
One has one.
Other than that.
Oh, other than that. The eagle, first of all, the eagle in ancient history, and all the ancient cultures of the world, the eagle has always been important. I think that's fascinating too. All the ancient cultures of the world always use the eagle. The eagle, in every case, always, no matter how ancient the culture was, the eagle always represented the sun. The sun was the giver of life. It was the one that brought warmth to the earth. It brought light to the earth. It was the energy that brought life to the earth with its energy. It was the dominant power in our little world that we live on the earth, is the sun. Without the sun, we're dead. And so the sun always represented the bright, brilliant power of life. And so, therefore, all of the Nazi, communist, fascist, bloodletting murderers who saw themselves as world dictators always used the sun. They were the great enlightened ones who brought power to the world and energy to the world and all that stuff. So the eagle originally represented the sun, which is very interesting, because most of the secret societies behind world government are based on the worship of the sun. Like Christianity, Christianity was nothing more than a cult, a very successful cult, but a cult nonetheless. The Christian church today is a very, and all Christians, I'm talking about Catholic and Protestant, all forms of Christianity that calls itself Christian are, in point of fact, a cult. But they're very successful. They got a lot of money, and they're a very big cult. Well, I mean, so is, you could say, the Mafia, La Cosa Nostra, in Sicily is a cult. It's a private association. Criminal, but it's a private cult. And you have to join it.
Well, no less criminal than the Vatican, certainly.
Well, of course, the Vatican is the grandmother of all cults. Now, the Vatican is a lot more than you think it is. There's a whole story about that. But so the eagle represented the sun. The sun represents power on the earth and enlightenment. That's why all the enlightened, intellectual, brilliant people use the sun as a symbol for their enlightenment. But the double-headed eagle actually goes back into ancient history, had nothing to do with Rome at all. I think it was Etruscan, and I seem to remember that it was also used in the Middle Eastern countries like Iraq and Iran thousands of years ago. That's a very interesting subject. I've done some research on that many years ago, and I don't even recall exactly, but that's something for you to look up. The double-headed eagle, which of course is used in Freemasonry and Masonic orders, but it's also used in many other fraternal orders around the world, and government seals.
The Germans, it's used as the symbol for the Vitesse football team in Arnhem, which the Germans call Arnheim. And when you look at it, you know, I think that if the Nazis were using it quite as much, and they're still in Germany using it today, even post-Nazi era, that it probably in some way would tie back to the Teutonic Knights as well.
Absolutely. You can bet on that, yep. And it's interesting, too, is, you know, it's been proven over and over and over again by documentation that's been collected over the years by really top-of-the-line researchers in America and around the world, in Europe especially, that the Nazi movement is anything but dead. And that all the big German corporations like Mercedes and Volkswagen and IKEA and all those big corporations, they're all secretly financing Nazi activity in Central America, South America, Brazil, Argentina. Argentina is getting a lot of money from these big corporations like Volkswagen and IKEA and Mercedes. And I've always been amused at how the Jews talk about the dirty, rotten Nazis, and yet all the Jews I know in LA are driving Mercedes and and Porsches.
What they don't know is that at a given time, all the doors will lock and the heaters will all go on.
That's right, exactly. And well, nothing new under the sun. It's the same old stuff. People buy into things that they don't understand. But it's a fact that the big German corporations today, like I said, IKEA, and those are just the ones that come to my mind. The big ones, corporations like Porsche, are, in point of fact, still financing the Nazi movement in America. Money is coming from those big corporations to secret societies, secret Masonic orders, in German orders in Central South America, Mexico, and here in America. We know that for a fact. So I just say to the world, well, keep buying your Mercedes and your Porsches and
Bear aspirin
and Bear aspirin and all the Bear aspirin developed at Auschwitz.
IG Farben, yeah.
IG Farben.
And then what do? They put Fritz Tamir, what did they put him in jail for about 6 years? And then they put him in charge of Codex Alimentarius because he hadn't murdered enough people.
It's a business, though. You're taking this personal. It's not personal. It's just business.
It's just business.
Just business.
Don't take your death too personally.
Don't take it personal. I figure you're going to die anyway. If you're going to die anyway, we might as well kill you ourselves. So...
And make a profit while doing it.
Well, of course, we're talking business here. We're talking commerce. And so, and the people, I'm amazed how many people supposedly living in an enlightened country have no knowledge of any of this.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out the next one right here on this channel. Thank you for watching.